Maybe I shouldn't be laying out here in the grass like this. I'm sure everybody's heard about this whole like tick epidemic shit. Man, this has been one hell of a year. 2026. I thought last year was bad. So in the previous episode, I was talking about how I was going to start a new job and everything. I just made my own home gym. I was so proud of myself. I got all this. Thought I was so close to getting my shit back together. But as usual, some had to come around and fuck me over. And I know it sounds like a bunch of bullshit, like a bunch of excuses. Oh, just stop being a little bitch. Where do I begin? So in the previous episode, it was like November last year. I just built my home gym. I had a job. I was planning on getting a promotion. And what happened? I got sick. And this wasn't like some little cold or anything. This was serious. This shit really put me on my ass. This was like a major flu or something. So it knocked me on my ass, and for whatever reason, I called out of work. But for whatever reason, it's like called out. I took 3 days. I called out every single day, but for whatever reason, I ended up getting terminated from the job. Basically, so stupid. Even though I called, I don't even know how to get into this whole thing. It's absolute bullshit. I was likely wrongfully terminated because I didn't violate any of their policies. It was not a no call, no show. And I only called out 2 days in a row, and then I got a notification later on. Actually, I got a call. I actually checked my schedule a couple of days, and I realized that I no longer had a schedule. And then I checked I received a call, a message, checked my voicemail, and it said that I basically missed 2 days, and they were going to consider it a no call, no show, even though I actually called out. I went through the system, through the app, and I requested the days off, and I notified them that I would not be able to come in those days. But for whatever reason, because I guess it was still, my 90 days hadn't come to an end yet, and I was still considered a seasonal employee, they could have just gotten rid of me no matter what. So I basically learned that I had no job, which, whatever, I've been through it a million times before. Okay, I'll just apply, I'll just get another job. Sure. I can do DoorDash, I can do Amazon Flex, there's ways around that shit. And I actually was able to even collect unemployment for a time while I was looking for another job, which I eventually did get. I eventually got another interview. So it didn't take me long to get another job, to get an interview, and to get hired. So whatever, it's like I've been through this multiple times. I know how to handle this. I have ways of getting through this bullshit. And then, for whatever reason, and this is the problem I generally have with the whole job market and why I prefer to just not have to deal with this crap, is the humiliation ritual that go on, the constant jumping through hoops, the onboarding, and all the nonsense that you have to go through just to get started. And at the same time, meanwhile, while this is also going on, I also had another thing that I was working on, which I'm not going to go into detail on just yet. I don't really like to talk about what I'm working on, what I'm doing at the moment. I like to shock with my results. Grind and work in silence and shock them with your results, that whole thing. So I averted one crisis, lost my job, I recovered from my sickness. I ended up doing like DoorDash and Amazon Flex to make some money, but I ended up getting another job at the same time. However, I had no idea. I was completely not prepared for the absolute circus that this was going to be and all the hoops they were going to make me jump through. Probably the most retarded onboarding process I've ever had to go through. Absolutely ridiculous. Interviews, I had to take a bunch of courses and classes. Thankfully, I was compensated for that because you had to show up and actually take them at the place. There was the whole background check, get this badge, get my ID. It took literally weeks, if not months. And then at some point, and it was a series of stages where it's like you couldn't actually start until you had completed all of the steps. So I was technically hired, but I couldn't actually start working yet for weeks until this entire process was over with. And I'm like, well, this is bullshit, but I will play this little game. I will play this game and see how this all plays out. At least I was going to have to take a series of classes. I had to get a background check. I had to get fingerprints taken. I guess it's some airport job with really, really high security. And at one point, I ended up not hearing from them for a while. It was some point in the process. And then eventually I got a call from one of the recruiters and they're like, hey, like, where have you been? And I'm like, no, what do you mean? The last thing I did was I took some classes or something, but I didn't get any notification. They said they sent me an email or whatever saying that it was time for me to take these classes, but I ended up never getting that. And then I had to basically restart the whole process again. So I had to wait another several weeks because it turns out that while they were processing my badge, my ID that I'll need to even start, I guess because, and honestly, I think it was a failure of communication on their end. Because I did not get any email, I did not get any message telling me it was time to move forward. Frankly, I just think it just fell through the cracks and they were not able to keep track of their employees. And that's one of my biggest red flags. That's one of the things I certainly don't tolerate when it comes to an employer is if they can't even keep track of you. I had a situation like this before last year, very similar situation. And I ended up walking out of that because I knew that was just a bad deal. Like if you can't even properly onboard me and get me a schedule and get me acclimated to the app and how to work through it and get my schedule and punch in, then I don't really want to work for you. That's a sign of a pretty shit employer right there, in my opinion. So what ended up happening? Well, at least, so I had to take watch a bunch of stupid videos. Literally, I had to come in 3 days in a row to the recruiting office and sit in a room for 6 hours taking probably 33 different classes. And these things were not short. They got pretty long. Some were like 15, 30, 40. The longest one took me like 2 hours to get through. And keep in mind, there's a test, there's an exam at the end of each module. So you need to get them all right, and you need to get them all completed by the end of the 3 days. You get 3 6-hour days, 18 hours complete. The only thing, at least I was being compensated for it. So I actually did. I was able to get $300 just from sitting in a freaking classroom. Terrific. I don't know if I'm going to go into a massive amount of detail about all that and all the steps I had to go through. Then I had to, and keep in mind, this place is like 40 minutes away from where I live. So I have to drive 40 fucking minutes just to do this stupid shit that I probably could have done at home. Then I had to go get fingerprints done. A whole bunch of nonsense. And then I had to watch another series of videos. At least these ones I could do at home, but I wasn't being compensated for them. And I get it, like you're just, well, obviously I sound like the biggest sucker, but whatever. Oh, and there's one more thing. There's one more little fun little detail. So just not long after getting this, and after having my home gym set up and all that good stuff, and after getting sick and recovering from a sickness, I got injured. I got fucked up. Oh yes, wonderful. This shit came out of nowhere, and it wasn't like an acute injury. I didn't tear something right there in the session. But I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I decided to just... I ramped up the volume. I did more than I perhaps should have. And I ended up tweaking something. The problem is I didn't know. I walked out of my workout feeling just fine, and then it was the next day when I felt it. It was the next day. Right here, right in the elbow. Both my arms and my chest. And I'm like, this feels different. This doesn't feel like muscle. I think I might have irritated my tendons. It felt like some tendonitis bullshit. So I did some research about it, and it seemed based on the symptoms that I likely was dealing with a nasty case of tendonitis. And it says, it takes about maybe 6 days to 6 weeks to heal. And I'm like, oh shit. So I ended up taking a break. I took 6 days off after the workout. Mind you, this is during the process while I'm going through this whole onboarding thing. So it's like, well, I got to get over this injury too, while trying to go through this whole onboarding. I want to be in a position where I'm ready and able to work by the time this whole process is done and over with. Yeah, I ended up fucking myself up real bad. I ended up like watching a bunch of videos and a bunch of stuff and a bunch of people who've gone through this shit, and a lot of people say, it's like there's two categories of people. There's the people who get over it eventually, and then there's some people who say that, like, oh, once you get it, you have it forever. It never heals. And I'm just like, motherfucker. So it's June now. I got this injury back in February. And I want to say I'm just now, like a few months ago, I couldn't even do this. I couldn't even move this fucking arm. Meanwhile, I got to get this job started. I got to figure this shit out. I couldn't even move my fucking arm. The bills were piling up. I couldn't even I could barely fucking drive. And then it ended up getting in my shoulder. And then it ended up getting in my ankle. So now, fucking Achilles started hurting too. And of course, most of the time they say, oh, just put ice on it, just rest. And of course, that just made it didn't make it worse, but it just, I swear, it's like nothing, just laying in bed, it's like nothing will just kill me faster. Like, I need to move. I need to get up and move. Literally just a few days of just like laying in bed and icing shit, and that shit had me stiff as hell. But I kid you not, and like within just a few months, it's a couple months, by March, I went from like a 34-year-old to maybe like an 84-year-old. I could barely walk. I was hurting everywhere. Still waiting on this fucking job to hear back from this place. And I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm going to be able to work in this place. I'll last 2 seconds. I'll last a minute in this job for freaking pain. Because of course it's a physical job, physical labor, loading shit. There's no fucking way I'm going to be able to do this. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just play the game, show up to these stupid classes, collect what I can. But yeah, here we are. And honestly, I ended up not hearing back from that job. Mainly because, first of all, I never actually intended. I was just using that job as a placeholder. I got something else I'm working on right now. And as soon as it's done, I won't even need to worry about this crap anymore. Right now, I'm keeping it a secret. I'm not gonna, my little secret for now. I'll reveal all later on. All shall be revealed in time. But in a month, couple months, I don't have to worry about any of this crap. All goes according to plan. So that job, just a placeholder. Matter of fact, as soon as I started feeling better, I started doing DoorDash, started doing Amazon Flex again, whatever. You got to be resourceful. You just got to, you know, in this world, this fucking society today, job market's fucked. You got to get creative. You got to be ruthless. You got to have more than one income source. You can't just be a complete sucker and dependent on one fucking job that can just get rid of you like that. Because of course that other job I had just last year, at the beginning of the year, they threw me away like garbage because I was too sick. Couldn't even take 2 days off. I actually was able to get unemployment for that because that was absolute bullshit. It's not like I just stopped showing up. Not like I had no warnings, no nothing. So honestly, fuck you. I'll never work for you idiots again. Second job was just a placeholder. Yeah, I eventually just stopped, lost contact with them. They lost contact. They lost track of me again. I actually, when I got my fingerprints done, the next step was to get my badge, which I had to go to this place to get it done. The same place I think where I had to get my fingerprints done. And I wanted confirmation because I was tired of driving up to this place. I'd probably been up to this place maybe 8 times already. 80 fucking minute round trips to go jump through these hoops. And I finally got tired of it. And so I emailed the recruiting office and tried to call them. Called them, couldn't get through. Their inbox hadn't even been set up. And then I sent them an email asking, "Hey, I got my fingerprints done. Like, when is my badge? Is my badge ready yet? If it is, I'll be happy to come and pick it up." I got no answer, so I just stopped. I was done with it at that point. I was ready to move on to bigger and better things. And at the same time, I was still healing from my injury. It was bad. I could hardly drive. My arms were just completely shot. Felt like my body was falling apart. I didn't know what the fuck was going on with me. Even now. And it's like I got some shoulder shit, but it's like even now, it's like it's slightly getting better. I'm getting better. I can move way better, but it's like it took so long to heal. So that kept me on my. So it's just crazy the amount of resistance I've had this year, the amount of obstacles and just bullshit trying to hold me back. First lost job, took care of that. Tried to get another one. It ended up being a complete waste of time and complete humiliation ritual. Went through that. Went through an injury, basically slowly rebuilt myself, essentially rehabbed myself back into shape. And I'm way better now. Like I can do push-ups, not quite pull-ups yet, but I'm doing a lot better. Holy shit. This year has been a massive test for me. Probably why I haven't been on here so much, I haven't been posting. I hate to come on here and just complain and bitch about shit. But I had to come on, I had to vent. This is kind of where the fuck I've been. Yeah, it's nasty out there. And here's a view of where I'm at. Came out to my favorite spot again. But I just had to come out here, I just had to vent. I feel like I'm so close. Maybe I shouldn't be laying out here in the grass like this. I'm sure everybody's heard about this whole like tick epidemic shit. This weird virus or this new fucking thing, these ticks that are out everywhere. Honestly, I haven't seen that many, and I haven't seen that kind of tick. What do they call it? The Lone Star tick or something? I've never seen them. And the thing about ticks is I have like a sixth sense. I can sense those little shits. I don't know what it is. I always find them. I always catch them. I'm sitting here. I don't feel anything. I don't see anything. Like I could just look down and see one on me, and I'll just pluck it right off, flick it. I don't know. Maybe just in my area where I live, maybe there's just not that many of them. I haven't seen those fuckers, thankfully. But I will stay vigilant. I don't know, man. This year has been fucking ridiculous. But the way I see it, there's two ways to handle this. You know, you can be a warrior. You can be a little bitch and just let it beat you down. Honestly, I think what I've been having to go through this year, I think this would have completely broken a weaker person. Oh, and that's another thing. Even my other side hustle, my Etsy store, where I sell handmade items, I had to stop doing that because I couldn't even swing my fucking hammer. So if you don't know, I'm basically like an amateur blacksmith, metalsmith. I have a small Etsy store where I sell my stuff. I actually made a few good sales this year though, thankfully. But I haven't been able to really replenish my inventory. Just now I'm finally able to swing the hammer again. So I can always just get some more stuff, start restocking my store. But I'm like, for a while I was like, what the fuck was I gonna do? What the fuck am I gonna do? I can't even pick up my hammer anymore. So I was out of commission for like 4 months straight. Yeah, this fucking, I couldn't think of a more shitty thing to get. I wish it was just like a muscle, but this tendon shit, this tendonitis bullshit, it's just so bad. You got people who literally say like it doesn't go away or some shit. I beg to differ. And then at one point, I wasn't sure if I had like a tear or if I tore my arm or something. I guess not, since obviously it's still attached and it's like I could still, but I don't know. I was just all fucked up. And then every day having to like just put up with that, and it was just like, and the pain was just like constant, constant nagging pain. And it's like, I know, sure, some people will just like pills, you can take pills and all that stuff. That numbs the pain, but it doesn't actually make the problem go away. It doesn't actually fix the goddamn thing. So yeah, for a while, it's like I was out of commission. I was literally just like freaking out, not sure about I was having to be able to move again, right? Scared to death that I might tear my shit off completely. Either my bicep or my fucking heel or my shoulder, fucking, you know. Then what the fuck am I gonna do? Because of course at this point my entire livelihood depends on what I can do with my hands and my body. I'm no good if I'm fucking hurt and I can't move. You might as well just knock me over the head and just put me out of my misery at that point. Thankfully, I'm doing so much better. Losing my train of thought here. What else was I trying to say? So yeah, this has been a massive test this year. Honestly, I think there's two ways you can handle it. You can just let it beat you down. You can create this entire narrative that your body is broken, that everything is against you. Or you can get angry, you can get up, and you can fucking fight. I don't care how many times I get knocked down, I get the fuck back up. And I was having like heart problems too, and it's like my blood pressure started going through the roof. Maybe it was like all the stress I was going through. Maybe it was all the caffeine. But holy shit. But yeah, I absolutely intend to turn this shit around. I got a plan. I just got to finish. But at this point, it's like I'm kind of at a point where I'm fed up. I'm full of rage, and I feel like I have nothing else to lose. Like nothing's gonna fucking stop me from getting what I want at this point. You have to fucking kill me, otherwise. But I'm just done with the fucking bullshit. I'm done with the victim mentality. Granted, there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of stuff that's just gonna distract you and waste your time. But I'm also trying to like not get stuck into any kind of like mindsets or false narratives where it's just like you tell yourself this bullshit story that's not even true. That's what a lot of people do. They tell these fucking themselves, they lie to themselves, they tell themselves these stupid stories that they can't do shit and that they're broken and incompetent, and then it ends up becoming their reality. Well, fuck that. I'm too goddamn stubborn. And apologies if I sound a bit heated, but I had another tough day today, another stressful fucking day. More bullshit. I'll talk about that another time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone's gonna watch this, give a fuck about this, but hey, if you like this, if this resonates with you, or if you can relate, tell me your story. Tell me what happened. Tell me what you're going through. Yeah, that's all for now. So I will see you later. Bye bye.